Yo. Let's hurry up. Let's start. Da-da-da. Here we go. We're live. Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, why is Amy like front and center?
Amy's now the host.
Amy, you're now the host. Go ahead. Hi. There it is. Welcome to our last show of 2021. Thank you all for joining. I know it's Tuesday night. Usually we do it on Mondays, but Amy was busy yesterday going to an amazing final, so we also couldn't have the final during the final because we all wanted to watch, so we moved it to Tuesday. Adriana was supposed to join too, but she ghosted us. So hopefully she's okay because she hasn't said anything. So
no, she said she got busy with her schedule. Sorry, I didn't tell you guys post.
Oh, okay, there we go. Saying already hello to everybody that's on. You're more than welcome. Hello there, Roberto. Hola, Roberto. If you if you have any comments or shout outs, put them on in the comments wherever you're watching. If it's YouTube or Twitter, if you're on, hello. But saying hi to Mr. Cesar.
Yeah.
Wait, I wonder if you can. Why is Amy in the? What if I do this? No, it's just Amy. All right, never mind.
It's only taken us like what? How many episodes? Are we on episode 3
Cesar.
or 4? Is it 5?
It's our very first time trying StreamYard, guys. So be patient with us.
I just don't know how. Like, if we do this, why are you in the main one?
Because you have to choose the person.
Oh,
I removed them off.
How you doing, man?
Oh man, you kicked me off from it. I'm doing well, man. I'm excited about Christmas coming up. Gonna see some family. Obviously gonna try to be safe about it. You know, test beforehand, wear a mask and whatnot for this holiday season. But yeah, man. Nice to be hanging out with the two of you. Nice to be looking back at 2021, looking ahead to 2022, and just wrapping it all up.
What do you do anything special for like Christmas? Is it Christmas Eve that you celebrate?
Yeah, I mean like most of us, like Mexican Americans and whatnot, like I don't know, just we celebrate
Nochebuena.
Yeah, the 24th is like the real Christmas, and then the 25th like
fake.
Yeah.
No, the 25th is a fake Christmas.
Oh, you're like what do we do on the 25th? Actually, I remember growing up, it was like the 24th, it was like we visited the side of the family that we're close to, and then on 25th we're like, all right, well, go visit the other side now. That's on the 25th.
Got it. All right, Amy, you have had you have quite the road trip in the last to say the least. Went
how are you still awake?
Yeah, I'm like
through pure will that I'm going to go to sleep very comfortably tonight. I have been counting my flights. I have slept for 4 hours today. So yeah, I'm just pure will and just hoping to get to like 8:30, 9 o'clock and then just knock out. The children will be fine. They'll take care of themselves at that point.
Nice. Put some macaroni somewhere and they'll be good. Macaroni and cheese and let them fend for themselves.
No, I taught them how to use a microwave already. So I figure, they'll just...
Cool. Roberto saying 25th is recalentado. Everybody knows that. It's true.
True.
You just go and it reheated. But yeah. All right. Anything that you're doing special for La Navidad?
Be nice to people. It's a special occasion. So just gonna go ahead. Be nice to people. Also, our family is very strange in the sense that we don't cook any food. We just order a bunch of food. So it's like literally a reheating. We just like, just reheat like pizza and stuff like
what
that. We
kind,
don't
like
cook it.
everybody like just orders food?
No, like at this point, we've turned it into a system. Before, it used to be way more chaotic. Like we would just go like wherever's open, and then we just buy stuff, even though we weren't going to eat it. So now it's more structured. We have a group chat, and so we go, "What does everybody want?" We usually get like tacos from like a certain taco place, pizza always,
Nice.
and then KFC depending on how the line is, and we'll just eat that for like 2.5 days. But I have 3 brothers, so it goes away pretty fast. So.
Nice.
Wiso, what about you, man? What do you said you're having a bunch of family
Yes,
over?
this first year that we're having it, that I'm hosting, so everyone's gonna come to my house with it. It's my brother's family and my stepbrother's family, and my mom, who always invites stragglers that don't have somewhere to go, which is cool, which is really cool. But and yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of people. So I've been cleaning, I've been decorating. My mom dropped off her plates today, the nice plates. So a whole truckload of china that we're using. And so it's gonna be fun. My house, you have to have, since my mom is, you have to like do something in order to open presents. So by that means you can sing a song, you can play an instrument, or you can do a speech or something. Like you got to do something. So all the kids every year, there's like a little mini talent show for opening presents.
Do the adults have to do it too? Like, what do you usually do?
No, the rule is that if you're married, then you don't have to do it. But then now the new rule is if you're under 40, you don't have to do it because no one's getting married. So
That's what I was gonna say. What kind of
rule
is that?
Now the rule was like, it used to be that, oh no, once you have your family, you don't have to do it anymore. But then
did you have to do this like growing up? So like, did you?
Are there
sing?
like loopholes to it? Like, what if you were married but then you got divorced? Like, do you have to do it once you're divorced again? Like, what a blow! Like, hey, you just got separated. You're going back.
Now sing about
Welcome to being
now sing, damn it.
Sing about the divorce.
Pretty much anybody under like 40 has to do it. That's just how it is. Like no matter what. Like now they it's gotten to, well, I'm not married because marriage is illegal in my state for for a cousin of ours who always be like, well, I can't get married, or so it's So
this explains
so what am I doing every year? I usually like put some karaoke song, or I play the guitar, or play the whatever. So I try to do something, but
there's just so much to unwrap right there. It's just
I know.
and
I unwrap Christmas. Hey.
When I used to bring we'll talk about soccer, of course, but when I used to bring like a date, like maybe a girlfriend over, right? And my mom would be like, all right, is she ready to sing? Like if you bring anybody. So I'm like, hey, just do like a Rudolph Red-Nosed Reindeer or something. And there she was. Rudolph, so embarrassed. So and then she videotapes it all. So I have all of our performance since I can remember, and that'd be fun. So
much.
Enough about Christmas celebrations. All right, let's get to the Mexican Soccer Show, a 2021 special today. We are going to be talking about the year. So hello to everybody. Somebody saying, Nicholas saying that. Wait, did I already put this? What was Wiso's best party plate? Place? Peace.
Party piece.
I don't know what that means.
Party piece?
Does it mean by food? Does it mean by your
song?
The song that you would sing?
I will let you know. All right, 2021. Oh, before we start, I want to let everybody know that I got my.
Yeah.
I have my champion from
2017. You're 2017, 2018. Mine's from 2019. So I'm the most recent one on the show. And then there's Herc that just.
We should probably explain that.
That I covered with. Oh, sorry, that I covered the karaoke. I don't know. I usually do some kind of Christmas song in there, kind of puts, or some Juan Gabriel once in a while. So it's, throw it. My mom's was like, okay, can you do something? So I was like, all right. So no, thank you to Cesar for giving us all our trophies from
the past.
From the past. It was cool. So
thank you for retroactively distributing.
Retroactively winning. So, but yeah, so it's cool that I thought I was gonna get 2, but
whoa. The budget.
And the budget for the Mexican Soccer Show is not.
Yeah, exactly.
So cool.
Herc will be getting his at some point soon.
Herc is the winner, right?
Yeah,
it goes with what 2021 is, right? Like it goes with the year 2021. U.S. beating us everywhere. Herc.
Oh,
you know.
Man, I didn't even think
ex-national.
about that until just now. Ugh.
Well, we're gonna talk about 2021. So
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right. So let's start with, first of all, Amy, right, coming back from the finale yesterday, a very intense final. I think one of the best finals that I've seen, where you really didn't know how one team could stay alive, and that's Monterrey. Tigres really thought would be able to score. Then they went to penales, and obviously history takes it from there. Rayadas, the 2021 Apertura champion. And I do think that it has to do the fact that you were there, because funny how Monterrey wins when Amy attends these finals. So yeah, how was it? Tell us all about it. You get to go.
No, it was great. I went to my last final was in 2019, where Rayadas won at home. So this was the second final that I got to go to, and I mean the Regios are something special when it comes to like just their fan bases. You know, everybody gets ready. It was a really quick trip, so I literally took a red eye from Tijuana to Monterrey, slept a little bit, and then just kind of got ready for the game. And you know, even like 4 hours before, just kind of like a Mexico game, right? We always see it, like there's fans already getting ready, and then they were getting ready to greet them at the bus, and that was really cool to see. You know, because you'll see pictures of, like, even if it's at men's games, of them with the flares and the banners and everything, but they were completely, you know, all in for Tigres Femenil, and of course everybody always commends them for just the dedication and the passion that they have for them, and you really saw it, and I saw it there, and it was really cool to see that. And then as soon as you actually get into the stadium, you know, you kind of just see obviously a very pro Tigres stadium, and it was really cool. It was really cool to see all that, you know, dedicated solely to Mexican women's soccer. And it was cool to listen to the theme song that I've listened to a few times, and it was cool to see the Mexican flag and everything. And there was a lot of belief, and rightfully so, right? But there was a lot of belief, talking to some of the people, that, you know, Tigres was going to get the tricampeonato, that they were going to get the three-peat, that they were going to be the first team to do it, historically. And then on the other end, Monterrey was kind of like, you know, we had a lot of we did pretty well at home. You know, the second leg wasn't a blowout. Like we maintained a tie and everything. So they also had a little bit of faith. And yeah, once the game started, it was really, really intense. I mean, like I mentioned, we just talk about the dedication that those fans have, and I don't think there was a single person around me that wasn't fully attentive to the match, you know, from beginning to end, almost to the point where I was sitting with some colleagues, and they were like, you know, 45 minutes already passed. Like, that was crazy. Like, it was just like almost, it was quiet, and there was just reactions to like everything, whether it was a foul against or a foul for, or a call here or a call there. So it was a lot of fun. My son's entering the room. So it was
He just
super
has his
intense.
comments. He just has his comments about, you know, the final. It just makes sense, right? Who doesn't want to talk about it?
So yeah, super intense from beginning to end. Same thing. You know, I did feel that in the first half, more than the second one, Rayadas just wasn't connecting as much, and Tigres was just not connecting fully in the final third. And even though Godinez had a few slip-ups here and there, she still obviously kept the ball, or it would go out, or Tigres wouldn't finish. Monterrey probably had a few chances. There was one really obviously close from Desiree that just, you know, she didn't finish it. It went straight to Ceci's hands and everything. So I felt like the first half, you felt kind of like almost like America first half, right? We're like, why isn't the ball going in? Why isn't Tigres scoring? Things need to get going. But I think, you know, whatever Eva Espejo told Rayadas at the end, you know, at halftime, she was just, they like completely closed up and were able to more effectively defend against Tigres. And I don't think that they looked to go to PKs. They weren't obviously as offensive, but they took it to PKs, and that's the first time that I've ever seen PKs. Yeah, thank you. It's the first time I've ever seen PKs, and it's like it's pretty intense. You know, you're just kind of thinking, is Rayadas going to be able to do it?
Is it the first time you've ever seen PKs?
Yeah, live. I think so. I can't remember in like immediately, like Mexico or anything.
But Rayadas are surprisingly calm during those PKs. Remember,
you know,
she said, I think it was to do the N, that after that they've been working on penalties since the beginning of the playoffs, and that they were mentally prepared for them. And I think it was Mariana Cadena told through the end as well that the team was absolutely calm, that they were 100% prepared for it. And it kind of like caught me off guard. I mean, I guess it's not surprising that a team would be 100% prepared for a situation like this.
Godinez moving
in the
around
playoffs.
like crazy.
Yeah.
I think mess with the
And then, of course, you had
shooting.
You also had
Completely.
Lozoya kind of helping her on the outside, who had already had like final experience when we went in 2019. But I think that was a factor when you started, like I was talking about the shift in the stadium, right? You also kind of started feeling like that. I don't want to say desperation, but almost like, why haven't we scored yet? Why aren't we winning this? We're at home. We're supposed to be dominating, and we're not. Sort of feeling. And when you finally got to the PKs, and of course there were some subs that had to be made that also kind of, I think, factored into Tigres's eventual PK kind of, structure and layout, where obviously they not only practiced it, but I think they were mentally prepared to kind of go all the way to PKs if it became a possibility. Where I don't think Tigres was, to that way, because I think they expected to win at home. But yeah, it was intense. I mean, Godinez just absolutely, blocked. I think Elizondo's was like straight to her, but the first one that she just like jumps and saves it was insane to watch.
Was that a penalty? I'm sure you've seen replays. I don't know what either of you think, where Godinez goes up and tries to get claimed. But was it against
Gatti?
Yeah,
complete.
Do we think that was a? I don't think it was a penalty. But I can see why some people would think it might be a penalty, and how that could.
You're coming out with the ball. She's going to the ball, and you got the knee. I mean, that's what happens when keeper comes out. I mean, that's what you're taught to do. Come out with your knee up, and that's kind of crazy for me. I mean, Katy coming out, Maria coming out, and then I think Rayadas reinforced the midfield and got a little more possession towards. Actually, I thought Rayadas did better in the last 20 minutes of the game. Actually,
defensively they were doing really well. I was really impressed. But I mean, like you can see how like, okay, maybe it's a little bit of a risk here by like kind of like trying to be a little compact and inviting the pressure from Tigres. But I thought Tigres did so many good things building up. I thought Tigres did so many little things right. But then in the final third, I just feel like, I don't know. It was almost like they didn't really get their most dangerous opportunities until, I don't know, like the 67th or like 76th minute. I think it was Elizondo and Maria Sanchez who had some dangerous chances. But other than that, like, I don't know, I was really impressed by Rayadas, not only in the penalty shootout, but by keeping things compact, because it wasn't nearly as open as it was in the first leg, where it really looked like Tigres could have potentially gotten maybe even a third goal in the first leg. But I know I was really impressed by Rayadas.
We've seen Tigres being kind of throughout this playoffs, right? I mean, Amy, where they're not seeing this dominating team that they normally are in the postseason, and other times. I mean,
America, they completely dominated. They completely dominated Cruz Azul. I think obviously America winning that first leg kind of shook up everybody. But I think I honestly argue. I've argued that I think the second leg, while Tigres did their job, also played a lot into the fact that America came out very passive, away at the Estadio, at the Volcan and everything. So, I think it became more frustrating rather than anything else, because Rayadas wasn't as passive, but they were kind of like waiting for their moment in the first half a little bit. And they were still, they were still attacking. They would look for that counter, but they had some chances.
They had a couple chances.
They definitely had some
actually had more chances than almost. I mean, Rayadas could have been 1-0, like you said.
Yeah.
Interesting what Nicholas Morgan says. 3 out of 4 road teams won penalty shootouts in the MLS Cup playoffs this year. Added pressure to the home team to deliver. Could, it's the added pressure that's there. I mean, Tigres is known to play finals and win finals and lose finals. PKs,
this is the second PK shootout. No. This is the third one, because the last one that they had, they won. It was the first one was against America, which they lost at home. Then the second one was against Rayadas, which Rayadas lost, so Tigres lifted the title. And then this is the third one, which they lose. So they're 1 for 3 in PK shootouts at this point.
Added pressure on the home team to deliver. That'd be a good analysis on like home and away. That's it with penalty. But I mean, penalty shootouts can go that way,
especially with Tigres. Especially with Tigres, we were just like during that game, you're like, all right. It felt like almost like it was going to be inevitable. Like eventually they're going to get that goal. Eventually they're going to get that goal. And in the last 10 minutes, you're like, oh, you know what? Once it goes to penalties, it's 50-50. And that must have added so much pressure to Tigres right there.
I was in a penalty shootouts in high school here for the championship. But I was the fifth person to kick.
Yeah.
It didn't get to me. That's how bad we did. They lost. Nobody made the first four. Like there was no. I think it was first three they missed, and it didn't even get to me because the other team made it, and it was like it's over. I didn't get to kick.
I was really hoping you were to say it came up to me and then I missed and then everybody got angry.
It was like the best player in our team was first, missed, then second, and I was supposed to be fifth, third. All three of them missed. I believe all three or all four, and it didn't. They won on the fourth kick, and I didn't even get the kick.
I've only done like one penalty. It was like must have been like some club team when I was like 12 years old. Now, and it was awful. And like that was so much pressure on me. And I haven't taken a penalty like since then. Whether it be like I mean, it's not like obviously I'm like playing professionally. Like I only played like high school and like a little like intramural and whatnot. But man, like after that, I just never took another penalty. I had like so much pressure on me. And there's like U12 game and just completely missed.
My penalties now on our league is running against like 1-on-1, the old MLS from halfway. To that's on our indoor league. Those are fun. But
I mean, I think when Liliana Mercado scored her goal, you felt that okay, we're Tigres, we're gonna do this. She's trying to get the crowd pumped up and everything. But then when that second one, it was like, well, it's such a good block. Like she really like it hits the post and you're almost like, oh, is it gonna bounce back inward? But no, she completely blocks it. I think that's where the momentum shifted and like you're saying, Cesar, I was really impressed. And obviously they had practice for that moment. But yeah, they were very calm, taking their time. Maybe that was part of like the, a
lot of time.
It wasn't that much time, but maybe they were.
That was on purpose. No, that was on. I forgot who said it through the interview that they were saying that like that one of the penalty kickers were saying that they were just like waiting until like they can tell where like the goalkeeper would feel a little frustrated and the crowd would feel a little frustrated, and as soon as she recognized that moment, boom, that's when she would like take the shot. And that so it's like clearly that was prepped, and that was something that they've been thinking about taking quite some time with those penalties. And I think it's clever. I think it's really clever.
Yeah,
sorry, they made an experiment with Pachuca Academy. The kids were being filmed and they missed almost every shot, and they turned the red light off, but kept filming and they scored every shot. Yeah, there's a lot to do with pressure. I mean, it's like last seconds of the game, people miss free throws because just you're like, oh, I gotta make this. Okay, I gotta do that. So we'll see. Pressure is key.
But Rayadas wins. I mean, at first championship away, so it got very quiet when she blocked that fourth PK, because obviously they scored the first one and then missed three. But when she blocked that fourth PK, it was like crickets. It was just very, very quiet. Obviously, the only people celebrating are the Rayadas fans and the Rayadas players.
Did Tigres turn off the monitor when they're lifting the cup with?
They turn off the lights, right? They turn off the lights after
they had the monitor, right?
So I didn't. So I was still inside, obviously getting post game stuff and waiting for them to lift the trophy. But when I was looking at the monitors, they were always like obviously like Tigres ads, like they would run an ad or they'd go back to the game or stuff like that. When I saw it, it was just a little like Tigres like symbol, like it was just kind of like flashing, just kind of like B-roll shot. But then I saw the video and apparently it cuts right before they lift the trophy.
And it's Tigres.
They did tell us to, well, they have to tell us like at a certain point, but I could argue because I was there as a fan, they told us to leave a lot earlier than expected. Like they were, like there's like downtime, even if you're covering championship games, right? I would say give or take, there's fluff of like 30 minutes or something like that. This was like 15 minutes, like after everything, and they're just like, oh, they're telling us you have to leave and then whatever. So, we left, and then we were outside maybe for, I don't know, like 5-10 minutes. I'm ballparking here, but then like the lights just like all turned off in the stadium. So it was just like, oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah, because
I had no idea. I wasn't until after the fact, because all the Rayadas fans were good. Well, not all of them, but some were heading to Estadio BBVA to go celebrate or welcome the team back to their home stadium. But yeah, apparently like then it had like an was interviewing somebody, and then they just turned off the lights on them. And then Tigres had a statement that saying supposedly it was like on a timer or something. It was like a clerical issue, or I didn't get the direct translation.
I could see that.
No, dude,
that'd be weird if they're just
doing.
like someone just like
it's
shut
hometown
it down.
rivalry. Hometown rivalry, trying to be like that, and it gets in their nerves.
I mean, there was a lot of. If we're
It's
gonna
Chivas
talk,
saying, putting on social media 2 trophies instead of 12, and that it backfired.
okay, but
on
one's
them.
a tweet and one's delivery going, "Oops, we shut off the lights. Please leave," and stuff
That's
like.
pretty funny though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, there was a lot of interesting dynamics that they just had put together, prior to the match as well. That it is what it is. But no, I mean, Rayadas obviously wins away, which is huge for their.
Did you get a crowd? How many people were there?
I don't have the exact number, but it was like close to 40 something. It was like
That's
40.
awesome.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
40 something.
I mean, anybody watching that, I mean, people, even friends that were around when helped me decorating when I was watching were like, whoa, this is a women's game. And there's like the intensity of it through the TV. And it just shows how, you have a town that's crazy for their players and support and the marketing and the payment and just it's well, and it could be done around the world. So it's awesome. It's awesome to see that.
Yeah, but like I keep saying, Rayadas, I think this is a huge shift for them. Because there has been a constant kind of saying that the Clásico is more of a Tigres, dominated Clásico in that sense. And now they're 2 out of the 5 finals that they faced off in with the Liga MX Femenil. Obviously, they do it under new leadership with Eva Espejo, who becomes the first woman coach to win one in the Liga MX Femenil. She obviously had a great, she started off at Pachuca. She made her way to Monterrey, and she even said when they faced Tigres at home during the regular season match, they ended up losing. She told them, when we come back, we're going to win here and we're going to win the final and stuff. So I think it speaks volumes to the project she has going on over there. I know that there were a ton of players that were just speaking miles about her before the match, during the match, and then during the title. So I'm really excited for that fact. Adriana and I have talked constantly about, we don't mind the Tigres victory if they always deserve it. If you win, you deserve it, right? If there's never been anything sketchy about Tigres' victories because they dominate most of the time, and rightfully so. But there was this level of like repetition, it feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like if Tigres is the only one winning, well then, what else happens with the rest of the league? But I think with Rayadas winning and Eva being at the forefront of it, it does create a new dynamic within the league about the way, structurally every team should be, the way the players and the coach work together. So I was really happy about that fact. And I was really happy to see, a new piece of history be made, because I do like whenever, even though the league's still very young, we get these like very historic moments, Cruz Azul finally making the playoffs. Yeah. Santos finally making the playoffs. Atlas almost making a final, but off of, standings technicality, Rayadas makes it and then ends up winning the title. So I think there's a lot to be said. And then, of course, the fans in the stadium. Oh, I think, 36,843, including me. So, but no, and then there was something very, like we've mentioned, obviously, time and time again, Tigres fans are always there. They're very dedicated, but it is very nice. And it was a really great honor to just be there and like listening to the fans, just be in the moment. And I've talked about it a little bit before on the national team point, but it's like, some of these players look like me, and it's been a very long time that I don't see soccer players that look like me. I live in the US, and more often than not, they're not me and stuff. So it was really cool to know that this was like a spectacle for Mexican women's soccer, and the whole world was paying attention, literally, because we haven't, some could argue that it's because there's not a lot of soccer going on. This was a final and it was going to be exciting, but it was cool to see so much reception, online and on the timeline. Everybody invested, and oh my God, who's that player?
100,000 people watching it online on the stream. Plus,
it was 100. Actually, I think
130.
Actually, I saw a report that it peaked 143,000. So yeah, it's pretty impressive on the Facebook Live.
Yeah. So it's
awesome.
It's really cool.
1,000 people watching. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's just on the Facebook live stream. So you can imagine what through the end his numbers must have been like too.
Yeah. And this is what happens when you put it on there. People are going to watch it, right? I mean, you're going to see that. So,
and it was on a Monday night too. Imagine if it was on a Sunday night, or if it was, because I think that would have been kind of ideal too. I'm sure there are a lot of logistical things that complicate stuff, but I mean, there's no men's games like going on at that point. Like, you had Expansión, but that with the second leg of the final was on Saturday, so you could have had a Friday or Sunday or Thursday and something. You could have potentially done that, but even for a game that was on Monday night, like it still got a lot of attention,
Definitely.
So and well deserved attention too. Yeah.
Great final, Rayadas, and the rivalry will keep going between those two teams. Glad to see teams like America, that's coming in there. There's, Atlas. Slowly, we're seeing more teams that are trying to knock on the door and saying, okay, we can do this. It's going to be interesting to see movements around the league. And yeah, so we'll keep an eye on it. Thank you again, Amy, for going. Follow our football podcast, which is a weekly podcast that Amy and Adriana do, interview players and do a great job summarizing the league and also talk about other soccer, not just Liga MX and what's going on. So interesting to see what happens in 2022 for our football. That being said, let's we have around like 20-25 minutes. Let's chat 2021, and we talked about the Mexican soccer overall and just kind of looking over the year. Start off with the national team, the Mexican national team.
Do we have to?
National team.
It was nice talking about women's soccer there. It was kind of
nice.
Yeah.
It's
like,
let's stay in the positive.
Let's just wrap a bow on it and just move straight to 2022, man.
2021, which could it be said that it is the worst year for the men's national team, Mexican national team, since 2013?
But I was thinking about this. We're saying this given that like 2013 is like down here, right? And then like you can't see it, and then 2021 is like right here.
I'm just saying the worst since like 2014.
Yeah, like the worst since, but like 2013 is like
the way I see it, 2014 to now. It's like asking me, it's like, what's the worst pizza I've had like this year? It's like, well, I don't know. There's been a lot of great pizza. It's like, what's the worst like ice cream I've had in the last like 12 months? Like, I know it's still pretty good. I'm not obviously there's room for improvement, but it's still decent. I think it's okay.
No, I'm not saying where we're at. I'm just saying it was a bad year for the Mexican national team in the losing the Nations League, losing the Gold Cup, losing against the US, losing like our 4 most important games of the year. We lost. We lost.
I lost against Herc. It's just been.
We lost against Herc. I think I can go on the things that I lost this year. Like
I think the context. I think the context is that obviously what's most important is World Cup qualifying, and I think that Mexico.
No, Cesar, we're not talking about World Cup. We're talking about this year with Mexico.
But that's the most important thing for Mexico this year.
True,
right? Is World Cup qualifying. They're in the top. They're in the top 3. They're only 2 points.
Was it a good? Year. I mean, okay, counter argument. Was it a good year? No,
it was a good year.
No.
Well, okay. Can we say it was an okay year?
I can argue okay, but like saying like, oh, it wasn't bad, but was it good? Like, it was
a bad year. Losing to the US 3 times in a row.
Not giving it a 50 or 100, or just giving it a 79. Is that what we're saying?
No. We got a 62.
Hey, that's still passing though.
D's get degrees.
It's a 1 in my.
We're gonna go to the World Cup though. Like,
aren't we ditching D's now?
We're 61 and a half. Like district. 61.5. No, not even.
What's our high? Honestly, but think about it. What's the highlight of this year? The 3-0 victory over Honduras that was missing players.
The Olympics.
Oh, the Olympics.
Yeah.
But no, we're talking.
I'm
just saying, like, I'm talking about, like, okay, as a Mexico fan,
No, I'm talking senior team though. Like we're talking about the senior team. What's a highlight?
The highlight is still being in the top 3 and only 2 points from the top of the table. After going through a really tough part.
Okay, top 3 of 8.
a team performance. What's a highlight for you?
It was probably that 3-0. I think that 3-0 was probably the best I've seen from them. Obviously, like the opposition were not their best.
The worst team in CONCACAF.
That was missing players.
I know, but players. I'm giving. All right, if I had to give like out of 0 to 100, I'm giving Mexico a 67. 60.
Bro, 67. I mean, I'm sure these do get degrees. Like we're gonna get the World Cup.
You know,
maybe even a C-. No, I'll stick with a C-. C-.
Hey, Henry did score a banger against Jamaica, so I would say
that
that's
was at the very last minute when we were about
still
to
a
tie
banger. I
Jamaica.
would call that a
There's
highlight.
been good goals. No one's denying it. I'm just saying that it was the worst year since 2013. Could we say that this
2017
year
was kind of bad. It was Gold Cup semis, pretty average Confederations Cup.
No, so I mean,
2017 wasn't like
27? No, but 2017 we got first
the
in
Chile massacre was in
2016.
between there at some point. It wasn't.
Yeah,
20.
but what I'm saying is that 20 I think 2017.
Oh, you're talking about year. You're talking about.
2017 we got first in the World Cup qualifying.
Yeah, but if we're looking outside World Cup qualifying, it was Gold Cup semis. That's when we lost to Jamaica.
True, but it was
the Confederations Cup was kind of like
it was a totally different team. Like we still were like we Osorio was taken as we got first in the like it goes by it. All I'm saying is that it losing to the US 3 times.
Yeah.
Losing a Gold Cup to a team that we shouldn't have lost to.
All the missed chances
in the Nations League was a team that we shouldn't have lost to. Losing it in Cincinnati, but I told Amy we were gonna lose. I was like, "There's no way we're winning this." And then losing in against Canada, well,
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't room for improvement. I'm saying a C minus. So obviously there's a
Nations League or the game.
Yeah, and I've said this before, but I think it's obviously too drastic to say dot that out. It's too drastic to be like let's drop a bunch of players to the team. I think what you look forward to for this national team is you think, okay, something's a little off here, and I think what you do is you consider 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know, just a few new faces, or bring back a couple of old players like an Eric Gutierrez, like an Arteaga, who haven't been in recent call-ups, and I think that those players like them, maybe Julian Araujo, maybe even working Santi Jimenez in as a backup. I think we have options there that can help Mexico go from a C minus or D plus back to the A level, and everything will be perfectly bright and sunny because I'm a chaotic optimist for 2022.
I don't think bringing any players is going to make us a better team. I
think it will.
I think you can because everyone when Guardado didn't start and then Charlie started, like it's almost like Tata did do those rotaciones for the people that we wanted, right? Because and there wasn't anybody in defense that he didn't have. Arteaga is the only other person, the only exception.
I think if you bring in, honestly, I know I want to be patient with some new faces, but I think if you bring in Arteaga, if you start Araujo, Julian Araujo at right back,
but we didn't know that until Araujo played.
I'm just saying that these are players that could potentially fix things going forward. That's what I'm saying. But
I'm saying like I don't think there's anybody there that we could have been like, oh, again, Arteaga, let's put him out because he can't come, and hopefully. But there was, I feel like I was trying to figure out why did we have such a crappy year, and there's so many different factors that all just kind of went in together. Yeah. One, I think the players were more tired than usual because of so many different types of competitions.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's the very first year that I honestly think like we should be knocking on the Guinness World Book of Records of the national team that had more games, and it's Mexico this calendar year.
Yeah, probably.
Like I don't think there is another. There's players that played a lot from the Gold Cup going forward. 3 World Cup qualifyings in 1 week. 2 windows, 3 windows almost.
Well, remember if you broke down Ochoa's schedule, he played 1 game a week, like 1 game every. Like if you actually averaged it out, it was 1 game a week.
Then all 52 games. Yeah, like there's a lot that was happening. That was happening at the same time from inside. Talking to players, talking to coaching staff that I've heard about. COVID has always been on the mind of players.
Yeah.
Of not being able to feel comfortable, not being able to go places, to have all these things that it messes with your head. When you're traveling, there's not being at your full potential to perform. So I'm not saying that's an excuse. Another one, injuries. We've never had this much of we've had injuries before, but not when Raul Jimenez was out, not when Chucky, was out. So I figure like, then after that Gold Cup, I mean, you saw after what happened with Chucky, it was weird after that Gold Cup where players were not playing 100%, where they didn't want to get hurt. Then you had, again, going back to COVID, right? How many players missed because of COVID and not getting that regular time? Then injuries with going into the Olympics and not having like a Linus now being affected. I feel like everything from then on just kind of snowballed into players not being at their full potential. Then scheduling, right? It's like then you got to go and play the U.S. and a week later play in the coldest game that Mexico's ever played in, and it just we won. And then, but we were lucky to like you're saying, Henry winning and getting that last job, or winning away, winning in Costa Rica. Like we did everything we could, but it was gonna fall sometime. And I guess it's good that it happened now. But there's so many little factors where I feel that this is what we get.
Yeah, but luckily, at least for L3, when you look at this schedule, and this is why once again bringing up my optimism, yes, obviously we have high expectations for the national team, but then you look at the schedule and you see that 4 of the last 6 games for World Cup qualifying are going to be at home. Yes, a couple of those are going to be played behind closed doors, but I know we've talked about on this pod, sometimes I feel like that could even give Mexico an advantage when those games are played behind closed doors. But I think when you look at that, I think that gives you a little bit of hope. And I think even looking back to 2021, I just wonder, and I do agree with everything you're saying right there, Wiso, but like, I don't know, maybe I was misreading the game a little bit. Maybe I was misreading the situation a little bit, but like, I don't know, I thought Mexico were pretty close to beating the U.S. there in the Nations League and also the Gold Cup. I thought, I'm not going to say that they completely outplayed them. Oh my God, they were deserved winners, but
should have won those games.
Yeah, and it really did.
Should have scored in the first half of the one in Cincinnati.
And I do wonder what kind of conversation we'd be having if, and I know it's marginal things, it's tiny little like changes and whatnot and narrow losses, but what would be the conversation that we'd be having about L3 if Mexico beat the U.S. in those 2 games? I know, obviously,
you can't have that conversation, Cesar. It didn't happen.
Well, but it does help because I get what you're saying, because it's like, all right, just go back to any given Sunday as a game is of inches, right? Like one little thing changes so much. If Henry Martin did not score that first, at the last minute with Jamaica, we would have tied Jamaica and we would have gone into the pressure would have started going to Costa Rica. Like it just kind of snowballs here and there.
Yeah.
We're going to be fine. I think we're going to be fine. I'm looking at the players that are playing right now. I watched Guardado with Betis. He's doing great. Like I've seen him play and he has a great game in important games. They're in 3rd place, I think, in La Liga, or maybe 4th. Now they dropped down.
He's captaining a top La Liga team right now.
So when people go, oh, what are those old, washed up? Yeah. Oh, for Europe playing, in La Liga, he's okay, but not for CONCACAF. Like I get it, right? You're looking at Johan Vazquez is playing great football right now. Yeah, you're looking at Chucky, who's all over the place, on the top of a league and being a leader that, Raul Jimenez finally got like, so I look at these players getting that confidence back and playing non-injury. Hopefully Tata knows how to play, but the pressure's on. Yeah. Now you got the next game is Mexico, Jamaica in Jamaica. Jamaica, is not the team that Jamaica was in the beginning of the qualifiers, but you get a win out there. Great. Yeah. Now now the U.S. gets to play Canada. Now the U.S. gets to play Mexico. It's like, so now the like you said, the schedule is shifting. So I see it better, but at the same time, it was a tough year.
And I guess it's tough because I think it's the issue we've had for, I guess it's our entire lives, where it's just, we know Mexico is going to more than likely qualify for the World Cup. And then after that, we're potentially stumble out of the first round, and then, or we qualify for the next round and then we stumble out, and then everything kind of resets after that. And when you see Mexico losing to the US, you see Mexico losing to Canada, that kind of makes you second guess what kind of progress that they could potentially make on the bigger stage, because fans think that if we can't beat the US or Canada, then how can we go out and get another win against Germany? How can we go out and get another win against France? Like, how can we reach that higher level? Because for so long, it all goes back to it, just because for so long, Mexico is a team that we feel like should be an elite world team, but we just can't
No,
do it. We just
well,
can't do it. We just can't do it. We just sometimes you see us in the top 10 rankings of FIFA, but there's just something that still separates Mexico from those teams. And when you see
we're
them lose
not
against
gonna
us,
be a
Well, this
top
year,
5,
this year,
10.
this year didn't like support that case at all.
yeah,
Not like the performance. Like that's my worry though, is because they like even Raul was having a pretty decent season prior to Cincinnati, and then you get to Cincinnati and he's not really doing anything. He's kind of flopping. Like I understood what his technique was, but it just like wasn't fully there. So in theory, I go, yeah, all of these players are looking great. They're getting a lot of playing time. They're in good form. Does that translate over to the national team? And
Well,
I
it
think
will. Like, it takes a while
but it's
for
also
it to.
it's also the mentality going into
True.
it,
But
which is
again,
I think something that was severely suffering like this year.
yeah.
Again,
Especially after the Gold Cup, I think more than anything.
I mean, we don't win in the U.S. for World Cup qualifying ever, except for one time when they were the worst. Right? We don't win against good teams. Like we just barely won in Honduras after 40 years, the last World Cup cycle.
Yeah, I think it
like
was.
it's hard getting World Cup wins outside of home. We've known this for a while. So if we would have won the Nations League, if we would have won the Gold Cup, losing in the US and losing against Canada, it's like, hey, well, we're not this elite team that's going to run over you because it's so hard.
I don't think it was a good, like, it's not a good way to lose, I guess, but it's like it also didn't look good how they lost.
You look back at the 2013 loss, you look back at the 2009 loss, 2005 loss, 2000, like it looked almost the exact same thing. 2-0. Like it's almost to the score line, it's been the same. And then one goes in, they flatten out, two come out, momentum, it is what happens. So it's kind of like we should be used to it, but we're not. Now, when Cesar, when you're saying, we want Mexico to be this elite, team, well, we don't have elite players. Like they're getting there, right? But I mean,
I know. I'm not saying Mexico. I think that's the issue. And also, well, I think you can say Raul Jimenez and Edson Alvarez have become elite players.
True.
But no, but I think that the reason why Mexico hasn't hit that spot just yet is because there's still room for growth. Like we said, there's still obviously room for improvements.
We need players to go to Europe instead of going to Tigres. Just Cordova, or it'll come down to it. I mean, there's a lot for us to get to that level, but it was, I would say it's like a 61% that our year this year, and even don't necessarily consider a failure because it's not like we're out. Yeah. But it was, I don't remember a year where we suffered more. 2013. After that, maybe 2007. I think we lost the Gold Cup.
2013 was pretty bad though. That was like
2013 was bad.
That was genuinely like pretty rough.
It's crazy how like the worst year of El3, and for me, 2014 was the best El3's ever played in that World Cup.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. So yeah, so there's anything else we just kind of want to get it over with. For me, as on a personal note, like all my teams lost this year. Every single one. Suns were in the finals. Leon was in the final. The Mercury were in the final. Mexico was in finals. It's just a bunch of losers. So we'll see.
I'm just responding to Amy saying, I think we need more time. No, we've only talked about 2 things. And I said, I'm down.
Just FYI. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. That brings us to even the Mexicans abroad wrap up of the year.
There's
moves. There wasn't that many big moves. There were some.
Oh yeah, I mean, if we had to give a grade to wanting to see more players move abroad,
who is the best Mexican abroad? Who had the best year?
Chicharito.
It's true.
Edson Alvarez. No, I mean, a key player
Edson Alvarez.
Strong.
I was actually being serious though for Chicharito. He had a good redemption year.
Yeah,
Edson Alvarez. Stop. No,
I'm not saying he was the best. I'm just saying
we have a policy, Amy, that if you're not in the national team after 2 years, you get bumped off the Mexicans abroad.
Wait, is it 2 or is it 2 years? Is that the that's right. Yeah.
For the
2 years.
FMF, yeah, I think it's 18 months if you're not in the national team that you can't be talked about in the socials. It's a conspiracy that
It's like
our friend
shout out
Raul
to Efrain Alvarez. He got 2 minutes in this 3-0 Galaxy win.
and now
You're like, wait, who scored the goals?
but yeah, no, Edson Alvarez. I really hope my boyhood team Ajax wins the Champions League.
No, I mean that's something to actually be proud. Like when you watch him play, like he's such a key player for them. I think Arteaga. I thought he was doing pretty well with Genk. I think there are unconfirmed reports that he has COVID, so that's why he hasn't been playing recently. But he's been doing well with Genk.
Guardado got COVID twice.
Yeah, Guardado. Yeah.
Actually, you know what's funny? I was checking like the highlights. Like I started looking at like, what were like the key points at the beginning of the year. The very first thing that Footmex Nation tweeted out for 2021 was that Guardado got COVID. It was like January 6th or something like that.
Did he did he really get COVID twice?
I mean, that's what some of the reports are saying. There's a journalist from Spain. I forget who was saying that he got it recently, but I'm not sure.
In the same year twice. I'm like,
I know the first one was obviously his wife like talked about it on her IGs and stuff like that, but I didn't see too much this time.
Yeah, but he was doing pretty well. Johan Vazquez has been killing with Genoa. Jimenez doing all right. Eric Gutierrez has been getting more minutes with PSV. And then after that, you kind of get into kind of like, well, they did okay to kind of struggling players like Tecatito, but it's not entirely Tecatito's fault because it seems like Herrera, it's not looking good. Macias, I mean,
who?
I mean, it's new. I mean, it's a new country, it's a new club, but yeah, clearly things haven't worked out. But I think for me,
speaking of like policies, like how much are we still going to talk about the relevancy of JJ Macias? Like jokes aside, like I say this
I think he's still relevant.
Go to the club, he'll be fine. He'll go somewhere else. The guy's talented. The guy's good.
Yeah,
the guy is good.
You just have your Leon glasses on.
No, he is a very good player. I think he's a very good player. I think too, like makes sense why he couldn't be involved in the national team recently too, is because like they want him adapting like over there, like getting time with the club and whatnot.
Did the coach leave also? Something like that?
It's just things aren't working out right now for like maybe I don't know, maybe he'll come back to Liga MX and do well and then potentially be a backup to Raul Jimenez. I know I still have faith in Macias, but either way, it hasn't been a very good start to the season for him.
Then he got ruined.
Yeah, but I think for me, I mean, I think if we're looking at the highlights for me for the Mexicans abroad, like it's
Raul coming back.
Chicharito, Raul coming back. Yeah, I guess, and like I said, Johan Vazquez.
Did you watch that documentary, Amy?
I did.
Oh, did you watch the Code Red?
I did.
I don't want to watch it. I don't want to feel.
It's not as sad as you thought.
I love documentaries. You know me. I watched awesome documentaries. Any documentary saying, I'm like, of course I'm gonna watch something like it. But for some reason, I didn't want to watch this.
But speaking of that, I think the first 10 minutes won't reel you in the way that the storytelling is. It's an informative documentary for what it's worth.
Okay.
Like I think the trailer was much more impactful the way that they advertised it, and then they kind of like stretch it out in the actual doc. But again, informative. I really enjoyed it. Like I felt a little like I thought because of the trailer it was going to be a little bit more emotional, but it's not. Yeah. I mean, it's still a good story. But it's not sad as the way that you think.
See what JJ Macias has been out of shape since he got back to Chivas and Getafe. He was erased, and then when the new coach gave him a chance, he got injured. Yeah.
That's right. He did get on the field, and what was it? It was like 26 minutes. He re-injured himself. That's
Diego Lainez, who got injured. Diego Lainez, who got injured and it's taken him a while. I mean, from with the fans, and I follow Betis a ton. It's like everybody wants him to succeed. The coach is
scored a goal last week.
He scored. Yeah, he has I think 2 goals now in the Copa del Rey. Real Betis is doing great. He's got a lot of competition. I think people going, oh, he's just like. There's a lot of competition in Betis, and right now they're playing. The Betis is playing. It's the top 3 team in La Liga. Yeah. So, as long as he keeps getting Copa del Rey games, as long as he gets some minutes in La Liga. And continuing, I think it should be fine, and maybe he proves it. But the way that he got minutes last time was because COVID hit players, injuries, and he got some minutes. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see where
Once again, going back to my football manager save on Real Betis, I think they call it like Real Hispalis or whatever, like because they probably couldn't get the rights, but you definitely see, you're like, oh, no wonder, like they're like stacked like on the wings, and then you're like, oh man, there's a lot of good players here, and like they rate him as like a really promising young talent, but like it's tough for him to get minutes. Anyways, some insider football manager knowledge.
You know who else? You know which other Mexicans abroad also had a fantastic year? NYCFC auxiliary staff, Efrain Juarez.
Yeah. Shout out to him.
Efrain Juarez. I'm like Efrain
Yeah.
Alvarez.
I know it took me forever.
Julian
Forever stop calling Efrain Alvarez that, and then I saw
Efrain Juarez. Oh man.
also Mexican
What a
abroad
year
doing
Efrain
well.
had in 2009.
Also Mexican abroad doing well. Kenty Robles. She's a second
Oh, yeah.
place for most assists in the Champions League. So,
Nice.
some good
Is
players.
she really?
Gael
Yeah.
Sandoval,
I should know
who
that.
went to the Australian A League with what was it?
Oh yeah,
Wellington
that's right,
Phoenix?
right?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was,
I know.
uh,
No, but actually, shout out to him. It's
Wellington.
actually really cool when you see players like take chances on new leagues and leagues that like you wouldn't really like kind of like typically associate with like Mexican players. So shout out to him, especially since you've seen, I think it was the Wellington Phoenix fans who who had like you saw like the small population of like Mexican fans in
Yeah.
like New Zealand like showing up to oh my god, what is
Yeah,
what is his name?
there's a guy there.
Ulysses Davila, but then he switched. He's now at a different club, but they were supporting Davila over there, which is kind of cool. But anyhow,
Yeah. All right, Mexicans abroad. Well, we'll see what happens next year, and
maybe Orbelin,
who's going to
maybe Orbelin.
Orbelin,
if
yeah,
he-
Orbelins.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a done deal. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
So Orbelin.
maybe Luis Romo apparently wants to eventually find his way to Europe. but
Diego
that's gonna be
Reyes
tough.
supposedly was going to
Hey, you know what? Diego Reyes, he has his
Eintracht
moments.
Frankfurt, trolling all of us with soon important
You know
news
what?
with Mexico.
And all they did was a collaboration with Chivas.
A coloration of Chivas jerseys. Damn it. Diego Reyes saying that he's on a plane to Europe soon.
He does. You know what? I like.
On vacation.
He does okay. I've been impressed with him every now and then when I catch Stiga. It's like he has his moments. You're like, okay, I could see why this guy like was like national team quality and whatnot. Like I don't know, like I could see it. Also, apparently,
Soria playing him as a in the midfield is hilarious.
Also, apparently, Salcedo has admitted that that there is interest from European clubs, but that like he just focused on Tigres and whatnot. But it seems like that's
I could see it. I could see Salcedo going back.
Yeah, there's a potential there.
I could see him going back. So, then some players going. There's going to be a lot of moves. Wait, isn't Pizarro going back to Chivas? That's what I hear.
Well, right. The issue is that Pizarro and Jonah could potentially come back to Liga. Well, I guess Jonah not really come back. But they can move to Liga MX. But
Jonah's already official?
No. The thing is they both have some pretty high salaries. So it's gonna be a little.
I heard
difficult.
it's almost impossible for Jonah to go to America. By the way, from like internal stuff.
Because each of them would be like, if they were to have the same salaries that they have in MLS and they transition that over to Liga MX, they'd be like top 5 salaries in
dollar.
Potentially even like I don't know, with someone like I don't know, Pizarro, like potentially even like the highest paid player in like Chivas. And it's gonna be tough. It seems like if you believe the reports,
that's what happens when you like trade up for dollars and then try to get. It's like the peso and dollar exchange is exactly that.
But America are chasing Jonah, and Pizarro apparently there's interest from Rayados and from Chivas, so there's a possibility, but they're gonna have to pay some good money to bring him over.
All right. Then to end things, Liga MX. I mean, Atlas.
The chaotic 2021 year that is Liga MX.
Atlas and Cruz Azul finally winning.
Champion.
Parity continues in Liga MX, right? Like there's just, I feel like if there was ever a thing that like really highlighted that parity still exists in Liga MX,
Are we done saying Tigres is like
I don't know, Cesar, are we done saying that?
Like, are we done with the whole Tigres should be one of the top 4 teams?
I don't know. I mean,
wait till next year. They didn't do too bad this year. It took them a while, but
what?
the fun thing is actually
how many years since how long?
Well,
since
the fun thing is actually what I was thinking about.
no, but they just won they just won the CONCACAF Champions League.
I was gonna say if
win that, but
if Leon had won the championship, I do wonder if we'd be leaning towards like, well, maybe Leon should
not
potentially
yet.
be like,
excuse me,
but on the cusp. Not say they're now in equipo grande, but like.
Don't disrespect the League's Cup champions, sir, please.
I'm saying is like, believe me, I've been waiting to go. Are we now a top? Because if it goes by, I mean, the top.
Wiso's like, am I better than everyone?
Get that TikTok going, Amy. If it's America, Chivas, right?
Yeah.
Pumas, Cruz Azul, historically been the top 4 biggest clubs.
Leon.
Right?
No, but they've been
dominant
recently. They've been
but it is because of winning and because of popularity, right? So then Toluca sneaking up there, right? But then Toluca's now like, unless Toluca starts winning again, I was just like, if we start winning maybe another 3-4 in the next 10, 15 years, all right, I can start seeing it. But no, Leon fans are, you're not. It's also the popularity. So
also, you guys are like ridiculously humble. Like it's almost nauseating. So even if you guys end up being like the best, you'll be like, no,
we're not.
Okay.
Okay. But it's funny. Like, are we done with Tigres? Maybe give them another year.
I think give them another year because it wasn't it took them a while to get the ball rolling this season, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Like they didn't like.
They're not
Chivas. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like.
They're still investing heavily within that roster. I mean, they just brought in Cordova, who's a player who should be, playing in Europe. And I think as long as they continue to do that, they're going to be a part of the conversation. And especially since I think we can all say they're the most dominant team of the last decade. And I think we're still not too far away from how dominant they were like in the last decade.
How many championships did they win in the last decade?
The last decade. Well, I don't think any other Liga MX team did better than them in the last decade. I think it was easily Tigres.
León had 3. Santos had 3. America has 3. I think I saw that all 3 of them were there. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I do think it's a new era for Atlas fan, Cruz Azul. That's awesome that we see that. Did somebody say like your new championship? Like a new era for Atlas. Start winning a ton of. It's hard. It's hard to repeat.
If not them, possibly Santos. I mean, they're both.
Santos has been doing well.
Yeah. Speaks. We'll Cruz
Azul. It's like Wiso said, Puebla champions 2022.
Querétaro.
Let's go,
Puebla, Querétaro.
Oh,
Puebla, Querétaro. No, Morelia had wins.
They don't exist anymore. We're talking about Mazatlán.
I know, but
technically, but you kind of exist, but they're kind of don't in the expansion. But like,
I was looking at the winners. Cholos won that year.
Yeah, in 20.
Was that with Turco Mohamed?
Yeah. They still love him out here in the Tijuana San Diego area.
It was such a. Cholos gets back. Like I saw that. I was looking at all the winners. I'm like, I forgot Cholos won. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And then since then, it's in a little bit of a gradual decline for him. Although they did really well with Piojo, and they kind of went back down again. But
yeah, Piojo, yeah. All right, well, 2021 should be fun. Let's see, if Cruz Azul Atlas won this year, I hope for Pumas in 2022. Man, when was the last time Pumas won?
I think it was. I looked it up recently. I think it was. They're not part of like a huge drought. That's why nobody's talking about it really. So it hasn't been that long.
Puebla has the longest drought now, right?
Yeah.
I should know this.
91 maybe? I just don't remember Pumas winning lately. I remember the meme, you guys. I was on the internet when this meme came out with a little Pumas kid. I think when they lost to Atlante. And he's like, if anybody remembers, Pumas won in 2011?
Yeah, there you go. Because I remembered it being like a very specific.
That's right.
relationship.
In 2011. Who's in that team?
How is this?
I mean, the Pumas of like Hugo Sanchez. I remember that.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
A while back. All right. All right. To wrap things up, Tri Femenil. I think it was a great year for Tri Femenil.
I think it was a fantastic year for them.
I would say the greatest year for the feminine.
Well, I mean, the bar is significantly low considering all other years were non-existent for actual real development for the feminine side. So yes.
Well, positives of the World Cup qualifying, right? Start next year?
Yes. Yep.
So
the first phase starts next year. I think that is going to be hopefully, I believe it's going to be very entertaining. I think what we saw to end this year against Canada was
twice. Yeah.
Was super promising from Mexico's, and I think it was a perfect culmination of the project that we saw barely start at the beginning of 2021. And like I mentioned, I was looking at the highlights, and one of the things was like, oh my God, we're actually going to get a camp under Vergara to see these players, just at camp. Like they didn't have any friendly set up yet or anything. They just went to camp. They started working together. And from there to the point that we're at now, watching them play with the system, even if it was a little shaky, you were like, this finally feels like a team. Yeah. We have players, and even if she makes some subs here and there, they know what they're supposed to do. They lost a few games against European teams. Obviously, they're going to lose against the U.S. in some friendlies. But just like we were excited when they beat Costa Rica in that very first friendly in March, we were equally excited when we saw them kind of play against Canada ending this year. So I think it's going to be a very good test for the first phase of the World Cup qualifiers, the CONCACAF W. I think they're facing Suriname, Antigua. There's two other teams in there somewhere, but
Puerto Rico and Anguilla.
How many? It's 2 teams that make it, or is it from?
No, it's 3 this time.
3 times. 3 this time. It used to always be 2.
There's 3 plus a playoff round, and then there's like a second playoff round, if I remember correctly.
But there's always used to be 2, and
there always used to be 2, and it was always the U.S. and Canada. And
Mexico made it to World Cups. I mean, there were times when
last time Mexico made it to the World Cup was in 2015, so they missed the 2019 one. So obviously so much has happened between that time, but I do think that they're in a very good place to make it to 2023, and I think we're going to be happy seeing how they qualify. And not just that, I think if I remember correctly, Mexico has never won a group stage match in a World Cup either. So I think history might change there too. I do think that.
Yeah, especially with this W Championship qualifiers. I really do think that, it's important because of this group of 5, only one team goes through to the W Championship. So just keep your fingers crossed. And I think there's a decent chance here, especially after how we saw them play against Canada.
2023.
We could see some 5-0 wins.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think as much as it was tough to watch them get demolished by Japan or they didn't face the Netherlands. They faced somebody else when they headed to Europe. But the European
was it Spain?
team, Spain. There you go. Thank you. Spain, the U.S. Obviously, it was a good reminder of the level that they're supposed to be at when it comes to legit world teams. Are they going to beat France in the World Cup? Probably not. But can we go toe to toe with CONCACAF teams within our region, like Canada, like Jamaica? Obviously, the U.S. is up there. You can. I think you're starting to see that you can. Yeah. And then when you get to the international stage, maybe you're not the U.S., Thailand, or England against whoever they killed 25-0, right? But you are going to be able to put yourself, when you actually properly invest, in a place where, the bar is going to be significantly higher, because that's what investment and proper development does for a CONCACAF nation. So I think that next year is going to be a really, really fun opportunity, just like we saw with the Liga MX Femenil ending this season. I think people are paying attention. They're covering the game properly. They're understanding the players and how they all work. And so I'm excited to finally see the national team, get that attention that they've always deserved, since
thanks to El Tri Femenil for picking up the slack for the men's side at the end of the year there. Because it's just things are looking worse and worse. You're like, okay, this is going from a B to a B- to a C+ to a C-. For others, it's a D or an F. But the El Tri Femenil really had a little bit of a positive note there. So I don't know, that definitely made you feel a little bit better about
no, don't bring the women's down because of the
I love banter. I love women's sports versus men's sports banter. The only thing I can't do it for at all is the national teams, because I love them both equally and I just want them both to do really well.
I'm like, don't bring the women down because of the average. To me, no, I think it's gonna be exciting, especially
it was Latvia that England beat 20-0.
There you go. 2023 is Australia. Definitely going to try to be there. there's what I hear too is friendlies in the U.S. with the national team for the women's. So that's gonna be that'd be kind of cool to see and attend. So yeah, I think it's awesome. Women's Championship, CONCACAF Championship League. When does that start?
I'm not. I have to double check the timeline. It's starting at some point. I'm not sure when. I remember when
already.
I remember when they did the big announcement for the CONCACAF W.
That's
when
gonna be
they
so much fun.
Fires and everything.
Like that rivalry, like the NWSL, like Liga MX Femenil rivalry. Like let's say,
I don't think we're ready to have that.
I think it's in a different level.
Hot take. I think we should stay in the high feeling that we have regarding Mexican women.
True, but
I think there's a very rude way to
get better.
A lot of people who had a lot of hot takes yesterday. So.
Oh yeah, no. All I'm saying is that, look, could the Liga MX Femenil win before the MLS wins? I think it's possible. All right, it says 2023. All right, what else? I think that's about it, right? We covered all of Mexican soccer scope.
Yeah, what was your highlight? Cesar, we'll start with you. What is your highlight of Mexican
biggest highlight?
It could be anything, literally anything at all. It doesn't even have to be on the field. Maybe it'll be something obscure, like Gignac's outfit yesterday or something.
Let's stick with that. Just him going as the Grinch, in that final yesterday. But I don't know, actually. I guess on more of a personal note, just like kind of like work, kind of getting back to normal, and work kind of. Obviously you have to understand when like our current COVID lives and situations when things have to close and shut down, and you understand why when they shut down leagues and whatnot. But I think on a personal, like it's been nice to getting more work, more opportunities, and yeah, looking forward to what else all this beautiful soccer can provide of the new year.
Awesome.
Is that Wiso?
On just soccer, not on a personal note, I think the Olympics, getting a medal. I thought that was probably the highlight of the year for Mexican soccer, knowing that we lost to the best team and seeing those. I mean, that was fun, waking up 2-3 in the morning. Gosh, that was hard. But seeing that group of players. On a personal note, getting to attend all the different matches this year was probably the year that I traveled the most. And at the same time doing work all over the place. So it was hard being a fan, but it was really fun working in sports. So that would be a highlight. Amy.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not gonna answer this question. Mexican soccer related, I would say seeing Licha get her Golden Boot award was really cool. Yeah. I think Licha Cervantes has a very interesting story that deserves to be told more. But I really like that. I liked being at the game yesterday as a cop-out, if you will. I like knowing that Mexican women's soccer is growing. So that's really fun. I think that was it. And then on a personal note, I'm starting to like myself, kind of, more than I had in recent years. So that's a very weird feeling to have. I guess who was ever listening, sometimes days are bad, but days can also be good. And I think we need to tell ourselves that second part more often.
Love it.
So, yeah, I think that's
great.
That's it.
So there we go. Cool. Well, we'll end it out on that note. This will be our last episode for 2021.
Ever? What? I didn't get this email.
I know we're getting to like our 500th episode, Amy. This is like years on going on.
This is like the houses again. I have to count them, don't I?
We need to make. We need to.
Is it 500 houses? Is it 500 episodes, or is it 1,000 episodes?
There's gotta. I think
there's be more than that.
500 because if
you guys have been doing this since I was like 5 years old, so it's gotta. Actually, on
YouTube, I think. Because I think, Tom and Naive, I think before Cesar and I came in, I think they had a 2011.
Trailblazers have been doing this for a long time. It's been almost like 9 years.
We'll start. We'll start with Cesar and I started. So
Our
There you go.
football podcast almost hits 100 episodes. We were trying to hit it by the
Whoa,
time the
really?
year ended, but it didn't.
that's what I'm thinking. I think we're already past the 500th episode.
Probably. You could almost hit like
Man.
1,000. I'll check.
It's a long time
1
span.
billion. All right. We went a little over, guys. So thank you all for staying in. All of you guys that are watching. Let's see here. Last comment. I think there's a reasonable chance Liga MX family wins the CCL before an MLS club wins the CCL. Depending on how many U.S. women national teams Canada players make more to Europe between now and then. I agree. Let's call it hot take.
I like
Liga
it.
MX family.
That's sweet.
So we're all good with that. All right, Cesar,
Yeah.
Amy, saying hi to Adriana, and thanks everybody to joining us on this awesome Mexican soccer show. Appreciate all of you, all your comments, joining in with us. You could be spending it somewhere else, but you chose to be with us on a Tuesday night. So thank you again. I don't know why Amy didn't say the highlight of her year was the cool posters that she put up and she framed by herself.
All by myself.
all
No
by
one
yourself.
helped me.
I really
Those do
thought
look very
that,
cool.
No
Those do look
one-
I really
really cool.
thought
No one.
I really
helped
thought
me.
that could have said, but I didn't want to say it.
No one helped. No, I need you to understand the significance of this. It means that I got on the bed or on my desk, leveled it,
Did
and
you
then
use
had
a
to do the
leveler?
clack, 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 and then hang it by
Did you-
myself.
what
I
did
also
you
went
use
to
to
buy
level
the
it?
frames. I also went my Mexican ingenuity.
Did you frame the Pokemon poster too?
No, I have
I
to
would-
though because it's also
I would
fun.
have framed that one first with all the EVs. Oh man, so dope.
Yeah, I was provided financial support, not physical support. So I bought these with contributions. So that frames are expensive. Okay, I'm a
They
single
are,
mom. I don't
yeah,
gotta let
oh my-
they're very expensive.
We're because we got married this year. I know we should be wrapping things up because we got married this year. We decided we're like, oh yeah, let's just print a bunch of photos for family, like frame them. We're like, oh, this is adding up here. All these frames are definitely adding up.
Your New Year's Eve party isn't for like another week. Dude, relax.
I found these. All
But
right.
yeah, frames are expensive, but I did it by myself. So second highlight of my year.
I thought that would be the first one, but we'll see. All right. Mexican Sock Show. We're signing off. Y hasta el próximo año.
Yeah, have a happy New Year, happy holidays, everybody. Eat food, drink micheladas if you like them. If you don't, you know.